Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking to our distinguished guest today, Professor Khurshid Ahmed, about computer and its impact on our lives. You see, now we have come to the third segment, and what is in store for us in future, Dr. Khurshid? How is going to be the computer from, say, 20, 30, 40, 50 years now? What are we going to do with it? Is it going to, and what about the robotics? Is it going to take over our lives?
Well, robotics is not my field of learning. I only know that it exists, and some of my colleagues work on it. But it has some very interesting applications. Robots still haven't quite got a thumb. You know, people say that it's very important that human beings are distinguished from other animals because we have a thumb, and that gives us many degrees of freedom, movement in our hands, and it's responsible for our...
And to get the grip.
And you get the grip, and for use of tools, that was very useful. So robotics is a very expanding branch, and many huge range of applications. One application I saw of a remote observer, and a colleague of mine does robotics and computer vision, and he has created a solution for trying to create for health services across the world. You know, they say wash your hands every so often, and they give you these liquids to wash your hands, but they also say you have to rub your hands in a certain way. So he has created a dispenser which watches you, and when you wash your hands, it tells you whether you washed the hands correctly or not. Now, believe it or not, hospitals are a place where you can pick up a lot of infection. And and there have been episodes where cleanliness of hands was very important. All sorts of people come and go. So this device,
because you keep touching everything.
Yeah, but this device, this colleague has a American US patent on it too. It's quite an interesting one. That he thought of it. That he thought of observing movement, and this device was there. It's not quite a robot, but this device is there. But it tries to do vision, see like we see. Now, computers are very good at all sorts of things. You know, they can outperform us in arithmetical operations. No chance. We have no chance. Simply, human beings. We may do few sums per minute. Computers can do billions of sums per second, or now per microsecond.
My question is, why not? Why? You see, because you have created computers, haven't you? I mean, human brains have created computers.
Yes.
But something that you have created can do sums at a far greater speed than a human brain can.
Yeah, because human brain does many other things, and this is the fascination of human brain which I'm coming to. Just take an example of how we see things. So computers are very good, outperform us in calculation, doing arithmetic calculation, which in our human history is not regarded as a very useful thing. Some people used to do it, and they did very well, but they were slow in doing that. However,
they won prizes for that.
They won prizes for that. And it is a mechanical operation. And the word computer has a Latin root, and it actually translates to the verb to compute. It translates as computare, which means to reckon intensively, without distraction. Now, as a human being, we will have distractions. Just have to stop to drink water, to have food. And we are, by nature, curious animals, so we get distracted. Now, computers can do a lot of things, but they can't see like we do. And you will say, well, what's so difficult? Because vision is a major part of our human brain. And within that area of vision of human brain, we focus a lot of energy on recognizing faces. As something we learn from our infancy, we're looking always for caretakers and food givers and comfort givers. So we have learned to recognize faces. Now we're trying to make machines to do that, and there is some face recognition system which are operating, but they have come after a great effort on part of people, and still we are not quite there. So the vision thing is a great one that has to be overcome, as it were. We can take photographs at very rapid rate, but we still have difficulty because the brain, the way it works and the apparatus it has, at the moment we are exchanging just between me and you. We are not. There's nothing else in this studio. You're sitting there, but megabytes of information is transferring between me and you. And that processing can't be done by an ordinary computer. So that brings me to the point where we're going to go. At the initial stages of, we may...
In 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah, I'm just coming to that, just see the progression of it, right? So when we first built the computers, they were inspired by electronics. The circuits could add and subtract by clever arrangement of components. So that was the first inspiration that came in the 40s and 50s. In the 70s and 80s, we were psychologically inspired. How we solve problems, how we diagnose things. That was psychologically inspired. So the current move have been biologically biological inspiration. In doing things, you know, learning is biology. You know, our brain, very complex organ, one of the most complex organs, contains the largest cell in the human body system, the neurons. But its operation is beyond description, and we only know very little of it because it's a concertina. What happens in the grooves, nobody knows quite. But people are working on it. I'm not saying they're ignorant, but they're working on it. So the inspiration is biological, learning things. I mean, computers can't learn. They have great difficulty in learning. They can be programmed. I used to work in a field called neural networks, which actually learn like human brains learn, but we learn limited things. The other thing is that the chips we make, now the brain comes out, most of our brain is formed quite fully in mother's womb, but it's a biological system. This computer we have is biological. Can we make a biological machine? Can we grow computers? Well, that is the next bit. Can we make organic computers? And big strides have been made in that direction. So we will now copy biology. That would be the key thing for the next 20 or 30 years. And you also talked about cybersecurity and cryptography. That's of course, to me,
which is very much in these days.
Of course, we built a big castle filled with valuable goods, but we forgot to put locks on doors. Yeah, I mean, because nobody thought anybody will bother about these things. You know, who will bother about lists of people's names and addresses and what they did and where they live?
And your bank account and passwords.
Well, that's different. Bank account relates to your money. But lists of names of people and addresses, people pay good money for these things now. And we didn't lock it up. You see, you to this day, you sit on a computer and it says, oh, I have to upgrade your operating system.
Yes.
I put patches in.
And you click.
You click because you had to, because they found ways in which people can tunnel in. So I think that was our carelessness when we built it, but we didn't knew that it would be so.
Unknowingly, we are giving out information about ourselves and our reading habit, our cooking habit, our eating habit, everything that we do is being recorded. See, the cell phone in your pocket. See,
tells people
where you are.
Yes.
See.
Yes.
And what did you eat yesterday? Where you went to because you paid this amount through a credit card or a debit card or whatever, you see. So it's all being recorded.
Well, I mean, in coming from the Devons Road Dockland station, I must have been recorded N times, right? And when we entered your studios, there were cameras all over the place recording my movement. I am concerned about the safety of that.
Are we going to end up in George Orwell's 1984?
Well,
a police state.
I think, you know, we have opportunities to create a fair society. We have opportunity to share wealth. We have opportunity to be nice to each other. We can use the same equipment to do completely the converse. But, you know, I rather not think of those people. I know there's a potential. But I think we are human beings are quite ingenuous kinds of people. And they have seen through lots of tyrants in their time. History is full, as we believe that the only thing remains now is the tomb of the pharaohs. So I derive much inspiration from the tomb of the pharaoh and all the great tyrants of the times. Yes, yes.
So would you consider this technology as pharaohs?
No. The people who want to make bad use of technology, people who want to, given the wealth you have, given the power you have, if you use it to abuse, if you abuse it, that's your business.
Yeah, on the positive side, how far will it take it to unknown frontiers, computer science?
How do you mean?
I mean, on the positive side, I mean, we were talking just jokingly, we said about the bad things, bad influence of computer science.
But I said to you, we have a pressure on our National Health Service at the moment. Right? You can't see the doctor. Now, think about when you go to see a doctor, generally for minor things.
Right.
Now, think about a stage in which we have virtual reality. The doctor wears a glove, and through a hologram, it could touch you. At a distance. He doesn't have to leave, or she doesn't have to leave the surgery to come to you. So I think it would be common to have a Skype or some televisual interaction with your doctor, and you can show them, and they're building other equipment in virtual reality where they can be able to feel you.
But you will still have to go to the shop to buy medicine.
Well, I mean, medicine could be, that's the other thing, you see, that is indeed this whole idea of administering medicine, because when you have medicine, it's administered in a carrier to go through your system, take it, much of it is wasted.
Right.
So there's a big debate on it. Computer-aided medicine is a fascinating thing. Very interestingly, I was at a presentation a few years ago by a colleague at Imperial College, and he talked about miniaturized robots he will use in performing operation. Now, just after lunch, he showed a stomach operation, and there, the miniaturized scalpels were put inside the system through the veins, and he performed the operation not by touching anything, but really remotely. And this kind of medicine, I mean, not surgery.
A little away from the patient, the surgeon sits on the console and he is operating.
I mean, areas of the world which are not isolated. Malaysia would be a good example. They're investing a lot of money in computer-based diagnosis because Malaysia is full of forests and you can't really cross it over. Australia was another example. The people live in far-flung areas. But I think the pressure on our surgeries, you know that you can sit down on a computer system and talk to it about your health. The NHS had a system where you could do that. They put routine things on it. There is a nurse sitting there always, but you answer a question and replying to you on their website to you, and there is an exchange.
Right. There are many other services.
Yeah, of course. So there is that thing. I think computers will become very ubiquitous, like electrical power. I mean, you don't know where it is; it just comes. Do you care whether the power you're using now was created in a gas-fired plant or a nuclear plant, or did even the fact that the electricity came from France? You don't worry about it.
So one of the side effects is that we will be losing a bit of our privacy, isn't it? The varied use of computers.
But the question about losing privacy is there somebody there to abuse it? Yeah?
Yes.
Now for that's a socio-legal question and an ethical question. I mean, that has to be addressed at a different...
There will still be some people, isn't it?
Well, I mean, there are people, there are at least 2 presidents with their finger on that button, which can annihilate all of us, but there are considerable amount of safeguards around them. And we have developed those safeguards as human beings. As I said, I'm a glass half full man, so every question you ask me for the downside, I always say, the good things we should focus on. The bad things, you can always find somebody who would like to use the bad thing, good things to do bad.
Thank you very much, Professor Khurshid Ahmed. It was a pleasure having you on this show. Thank you.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you.
Thank you, viewers, for being with us, and I hope you have enjoyed the show and found it as informative as we have. Computer science is a fascinating subject, and he is professor and he teaches at Trinity College, University of Dublin. He traveled all the way for us. Thank you very much for being with us, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same channel. Bye for now. Thank you, sir. आप बैठे रहें तो वो लड़के आएंगे 10. हाँ? अच्छा. হ্যান্ডশেক করতে হবে? अच्छा ठीक है सर, ओके सर, फिर हैंडशेक करना होगा. हाँ,
All right, okay.
okay, okay. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Khurshid, for coming along all the way from Dublin, and despite the bad weather, despite the very tight schedule that you have. Thank you for coming, and it was a pleasure having you with us. Thank you, listeners, for being with us and enjoying the show. I hope that you have found it as informative as we have. We'll see you again next week, same time, same channel. Bye for now. Take care.